Hello guys, and today we'll be discussing about hash tables in Java. Hash tables are similar to that of an array list, for example, let's say, but in array list we see that we actually use indexes to access the values. Whereas in hash table, it consists of key value pairs. If you're not aware of what key value pairs are, in this we store each and every value with some specific key, so that key is used to access that data within that value. Basic representation for a hash table could be, this picture, let's say here. There is some specific key that acts as an index to that stored value that we are trying to store. If I had to give a basic example, we can store people or students with their roll numbers by using these key value pairs. So the key for that data would be the roll number itself, and the value will be the name of that student. So to implement hash tables in Java, we use the .hashtable class from the utils class. And the code is actually very easy, and there are some specific methods we generally use in Java, like put, remove, and the other methods like get key, let's say. These are generally the methods that we use within hash tables in Java. We actually use them in our code further on in this video, so keep watching. Now, to understand what put does, it actually inserts some value into that hash table. So we need to insert two values, that is the key value and the value itself. So the key becomes the index for that specific value, and the value is the data that we're trying to store. Normally, whenever I use hash tables, we generally use a string and an integer, or an integer and a string to create the hash table itself. So we can also remove elements from that. We can get key, which is generally used to, get some specific value within that hash table. We can also use the get key set to get all the keys within that hash table and then print all the values for that hash table. So let's actually try to implement this in our code. Let's go to the Java code. Now we can see that I have actually, imported java.util.hash table. So what this does is I want to try to run the program. Let's just create a hash table object. Now let's say it stores, let's say integer, comma, string. Sorry, this is capital, so string. And let's just name it table is equals to new. I'm gonna say a hash table. So now we have created a hash table of the name table. So I just want to try to print it, what actually shows, is it created or not. So if I now run the program, we can see that it has actually created similar to that of a dictionary in Python, if you are aware of that. If you're not, I think I'll make it easy to understand right now. What a hash table has is a key and a value. So the key here is the integer value that we're trying to enter. And again, here the value itself is the data that we're trying to enter. So as I have given the example of students and the roll numbers already, so let's actually try to implement that. To insert values into that hash table, we need to use the put method. So table dot, you say put. So integer here is the key, so I can say the integer is 1. And again, the value itself is the name, so I'll just enter some specific name, like let's say Alice. And I just want to populate this hash table, so I'll do this again for, let's say, 3 times, I guess. And I just want to change the name now. I'll just put it as Tom. Change his roll number to 3, I guess, and then I'll just do Jerry, and I'll change the value to 2. Now again, we have inserted, or we have populated this hash table by using the put method. So you can just remove this, or sorry, you can just remember this, or not remove this, but here we have entered 2 values, that is the key value and the value itself, which is the Alice, or the name we are trying to say, let's say. And if I run the program now, we can see that 3 is Tom, 2 is Jerry, and 1 is Alice. Now this is actually a representation of the hash table. So as I've shown below, the value that, or the key, acts as an index to that value. So if we have a key of some specific data, we can actually get the data with this, we can actually get the value that is stored within that key. So how to do that is we can use the get key method. So if I just s out and I say table dot get, I can use the get method. So I can just say get of, let's say the key is 1. So if I try to run the program now, you can see that the 1 value is Alice. Again, if I try to do it with a different value, let's say I want to say 2, which is obviously Jerry, so we get Jerry. So this is how we actually access the values within this, hash table. Now, if I want to remove values from this hash table, I can just say table.remove of the object key. You can see that there are two here actually, where you can also remove it based on both the key and the object value. But instead, let's just use the object key. So the key that I want to remove from the table is, let's say, 2, for example. I just need to use a semicolon. And if I run the program now, we can see that the second value has been removed. We also get Jerry, that is the second value, because we actually do it before, or we actually get the value from the key before we have removed the value Jerry. So, it's a simple observation that you need to take care of in coding. Now you can see that we have already removed the value of the key 2. And if I have to explain it in simple words, everything in hash table works in key value pairs. So everything you want to do and all the functions that you actually want to do, you generally do it by using the key value or the key data. As I've said, the basic example that I've taken here is just students and their roll numbers. For example, the key acts as the roll number and the value is the name of that student. You can also implement this in different projects. Like if you want a grading system, you can also do that. You can actually create a string first, and then you can create, let's say, even a character or an integer. It's your wish, but you can give a percentage by using integer, let's say 1995 or whatever. Or you can just use the character to give them and create like A, B, C or something like that. These are generally the simple projects that I have worked with in hash tables, and I think you might find it useful to actually do these projects and implement it on your own. And again, if I try to print this, we see that we have already printed this completely based on the name of that hash table. So these are generally the basic methods that you would use in hash table. If you check out other methods, let's just say table dot, you see that there is a key set value or the entry set and compute and other stuff like the contains key. Again, you can, these what I want to explain, let's say a contains. And contains is used to actually find a specific value. We don't really use a key here, instead we use a value. So I want to check out if it actually has, let's say Tom. Again, capitalization is very important because we have T as capital here. Again, if you remove this and if you keep a smaller t, it does not work. It actually shows false. So I want to show, again, I want to show it to the output. So I'll just put up this. I'll do that, and I'll just add a parenthesis at the end. So now if I run the program, we can see that it shows true, which means the value actually contains, or the hash table actually contains the value Tom. And there's another method called the contains key method, which again here you will normally use a key. So if I say the value 2, I want to try and find out if the key 2 is present. So if I run the program, it shows false because we have actually deleted or removed the key value 2. That is, we have already removed Jerry and also the value 2. So obviously it shows false because it does not exist. So let me just clear the terminal for now, make it clear. So I hope you have understood all these methods that I'm trying to explain to you about hash tables in Java. If you have already watched my previous videos of stacks, queues, and other data structures, I think this would be very easy to understand for you. I hope that you don't skip any videos in the data structures playlist that I have on my channel, and just watch all of them so that it makes it easier to write code in Java. And if you're not sure about the basics, or you're not good at the fundamentals of Java, you can also follow the Java full course playlist that I have on my YouTube channel. So if you have understood this concept of hash tables in Java, please leave a like, share, and subscribe to this channel, and also make sure that you turn on the bell icon for future notifications. Thank you for watching. See you in the next one.